Good morning, good evening. Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. It is January 2024. Welcome. So thank you to all of you for joining us. And if you're watching and recording on Rumble or YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Today, we're going to be discussing preserving foods because it's something we feel is important for the future. We'll be talking about our experiences, and the wonderful Robyn will be guiding us through some Qigong. So firstly, good morning and welcome to the new year, to the new Wellbeing Wednesday of 2024. June Tranmere. Good morning, June.
Good morning, good morning. I'm feeling perky, although as we were mentioning before we started recording, a bit slowed down, and I feel like that's okay for this time of year. We're all saying it's hard to get out of bed. Well, it's still dark. I think as creatures of, this planet, we're meant to kind of go with the sun coming up and the moon coming up and paying attention to the seasons more than we have been doing in these latter years of industrialization and lighting and staying awake all hours looking at our screens and our things and trying to use them for good. I mean, I tend to try and do a meditation of some description before I go to sleep. So yeah.
I think we should be more connected to the seasons, and animals hibernate now, and I think there is that hibernation, and that plays into making sure that after the autumn and the harvest and the most of the where the preservation work comes in terms of preserving foods, and that's where it all comes in, and it's all about drawing us in and being in and hibernating and going within, even in into your own darkness as well. And perhaps that's why, as I was saying, I feel really bleh, and everything's, I just want to curl up in a ball and just be in. I don't want to go out. And I suppose I'm overworking my own head, thinking, oh, that means that there's something wrong with me. But as you're talking, June, I'm like, no, you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not I'm thinking, oh, am I going into a deep, dark depression? No, I'm hibernating. My natural rhythms want to hibernate. So just as you've just spoken, I actually feel emotional now because I feel like I've just let myself off the hook, because it's all right not to want to go out. It's okay. So
Yeah.
thank you, June. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
bless you. Yeah, I think it's important. I've been trying to say this to myself because I live by myself and there's nobody to bounce these things off of. Um, but I mean, yes, vitamin D is very important, and I do take it every day, winter, summer, all the way through. And then I wonder, everything's open for question. I've been wondering about it being a hormone, and it may be being partially disruptive of our other hormones in our system. So, nothing's without consequences. It does a load of good stuff, but there's
Yeah.
ups and downs to all of these things. So I might have some vitamin D free time at some point soon, but I'd rather wait until the sun comes back and I can get a bit more sun. But in this climate in northern England,
It's not
you're
happening. It's not
never
happening.
gonna get enough sun to do anything. And
And I think,
so
even with the seasonal affective disorder, it's a mental health issue rather than actually. And I understand there are places on the earth that have 24 hours of darkness. I can't even begin to imagine what that is like. And maybe the fact that those places are inhospitable means that we shouldn't be.
well, I've
Did
often
we put
wondered.
us, did we put ourselves there? Have we put ourselves into these environments that actually are not conducive to our states, our particular species? No, I'm not telling people to up and move south, or well, I wouldn't mind moving south myself.
Yeah,
But I do wonder. But yes,
yeah,
people do need light. We do need vitamin D, and we
yeah.
need to get out. But is it wrong if we hibernate?
Mm-mm.
And we stay in and we eat. This is where seasonal eating comes in, isn't it? and eating seasonal foods and that preservation of what's been, what we've been able to pickle and brine and dry and
Yeah,
whatever.
back to my theme, because I got very excited earlier on in the year about someone who came to talk to our hub about preserving and canning. It's a very North American thing. And growing up in Canada, a lot of people around were doing this kind of thing all the time. Um, my mother did some. Um, she mostly did crabapple jelly. Oh my gosh, her crabapple jelly was amazing. And she loved sweet things, so she made sweet things. And she wasn't so big on pickles. I love pickles, so I've been doing lots of pickling for ages. Well, ages, past few years. And I just feel like now I'm ready to branch out into this whole preserving thing because I've got a pressure cooker, and you put things in a jar, in like a Kilner jar or a ball jar. Other brands are available with the sealed top, and you pressure cook it until it's cooked inside, and it's also sealed, and it's like vacuum packed, really. So
Yeah.
you don't need a freezer to store things if the electricity goes off, by any chance that that we've been threatened with that numerous times over the last little while. And so I've got cupboards stuffed with jars of things. They won't last a huge long amount of time, frankly, if even just with one person eating them. Once you open them, you have to start consuming
I
them.
think
But
that's where you might pickle in smaller, pickle for you, preserve for what you do. Like when I'm freezing, I put things into portions for 1 and 2. Make a big pot, but make sure that the portion sizes that you're doing, and maybe that's
exactly.
what you do with the canning, and put them into smaller
Oh, Lisa
jar.
cans chicken.
Oh, yeah. You see, I've tried that for the first time this year, and I haven't opened it yet because I just did it recently. And this is something that this lady was showing us, and it can last for up to 4 years.
Yeah, I think that
Mm.
the preserving is just the way forward,
Mhm.
and to ensure that we have not only when prices of stuff goes for up and through the roof, which it is, but also if you're canning your own produce or drying your own produce, it's going to be well more, nutritionally beneficial than purchasing from supermarkets.
15 years, Lisa. 15. Oh my word. Wow. Yeah. Well, this lady told us four. Who knows? Who knows what's possible? I just think, yeah, if you come to move, yes, we might have to do a presentation. I maybe have to get my friend
I have
and
a
come and
video.
talk about it.
I have a video of someone doing the canning in the steam thing.
There's quite a
That
lot of videos on YouTube, actually. I love watching Mary's kitchen, Mary's Texas kitchen, whatever. And then there's another woman called Vicky. I mean, there's some really interesting ladies doing these things.
But
And
it's good to have interaction, isn't it? It's lovely to have the YouTube to watch, but if we can get somebody to present for us, then we can ask questions live.
and that's
this
where
is
you learn
true.
more, isn't it? By the question asking.
Well,
I
what
think
this lady did when she came to our group was she actually did it in front of us, brought in a little, like a baby belling stove, and she showed us how she did it,
Yeah.
literally doing it in front of us, which was amazing. Um, so yeah, I mean, the guys in this book say you've never actually achieved full status as a preserver person until you've had an explosion to mop stuff off your ceiling, because things can go wrong. She warned us about stuff going wrong, things leaking, things. I mean, she didn't say about explosions, but I
But
want to read something from
that's
this
the
book if I
same.
can. Yeah. Mhm.
I was going to say that's the same with drying. When you're drying things, you have to make sure that they're properly dried. Otherwise, I've had this happen. I've gone to open something and it's moldy because it wasn't dried properly.
Yeah.
So, when you're drying your stuff, make sure it's properly dried and that you've got. I know that people are using dryers, sort of electrical dryers. I have a tiered thing that you hang up, and just make sure that there's an airflow, because even if there's no airflow, what you're drying will become stagnant and not dry properly as well.
See, the only thing I know about drying is the way that in Southern Ontario, where I grew up, there used to be these shacks all along the road where we used to drive down to the lake in the summer. And there's these big shacks where they dried tobacco. And that's they do that there. They hang it up. It's an old Indian style way of doing it.
I
It's
used to I would hang rosemary, because like tree branches, and because they're more like that. So I'd have, at certain times of the year, you just find either things on my tiers or on pieces of string, literally just hanging and drying. So yeah, really good ways. Freeze drying is the best. I've never done a freeze dryer. That's very quick.
okay.
I would imagine. I don't
Freeze
know.
drying. I don't know anything about that. Lisa, do you want to talk about that? Because none of us have any experience of that.
Freeze drying
Yeah.
is basically, you know how you put into little trays. It's like so you have the freeze dryer, and it has little shelves. So like when you're dehydrating, you prepare the food, dry it off, put it into the shelves, and you turn it on, and it freezes it, so it snap locks the freshness right then and there, and then it dries it out as well, so you don't have to keep it cold or anything. You can just put it into jars after the process is finished. Yeah.
Wow.
So it's a quick way. It's like blitzing, really quick way of drying something.
Yeah. A little bit like the mammoths that they have in Siberia, they got frozen. They even though they got freeze frozen like 10,000 years ago, they've been throwing them out and eating them. Not quite as dramatic, but you do it. So just like with dehydrating, you chop it fine. You chop it fine for the freeze drying, and put it in the trays, come back in a couple of hours, and then you can take it out and put it into a jar. Yeah.
You would say jars, yeah. I mean, I think glass is much the better thing, isn't it, rather than putting things in plastic.
I'll never use plastic, always glass.
Yeah. I think it's worth mentioning that, because a lot of people do put things into plastic bags and so on and so forth, especially in freezers and such like. But I
Keep
think
the jars as well. I'd encourage people to keep their jam jars, their sauce jars, whatever jars you're getting, and buy things in jars as opposed to plastic containers. And then keep your jars. And then when you need to wash them out, and then when you're ready to actually use them, you just sterilize them in the oven. So you would put them in the oven for about 10 minutes. I don't think you need to put them in for 10 minutes, but 10 minutes on a heat. And I know, like when you make jams and those kind of preserves, and that will sterilize your jars. But keep your jars. I mean, my husband goes nuts because there's glass jars all over the place. But do keep, you buy glass jars, and then most people just throw them away. But keep your jars, your mayonnaise jars, your salt, whatever jars you're using, and choose to buy things in glass as opposed to plastic, rather, because the plastic's no good anyway. You can't wash them and put them in the oven, because I did that with I was making my flavored oils, and the top of the kilners with the plastic rim, I put that into as I was, and destroyed my bottle. The whole thing melted and it was just dripping down. So don't put plastic into your oven.
So I suppose not the ones with the rubber seals then, because
don't put the rubber seals, but you can't put some lids you can put in the oven and some lids you can't. Sorry, Lisa.
You boil this rubber lids, once the rubber lining on the edges, you boil those ones for about 10 minutes.
For how long?
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. Thank you.
That's how you used to sterilize babies' bottles, wasn't it? You used to boil them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
and everything.
Well, that's just quite funny.
Point.
The transition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I read somewhere that you're not meant to reuse those little seal lids with the rubber in, that you're only supposed to use those once, and I found that a bit
wasteful.
odd. yeah, wasteful, yes, precisely. And then I
think
thought,
that's
well,
one
yes,
of the things,
if you clean them properly, why can't you reuse them?
but that's the same
Sometimes
with
you
the whole
bend them
sell-by
as
date.
you bend them as you take them off sometimes, and that means you can't seal properly the next time. So that's
Sure,
why they
sometimes they
recommend
get
one use.
damaged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rubber, I suppose, would after a certain amount of time perish, wouldn't it? It's not going to last forever
Well,
like.
the lid gets bent before the rubber perishes. Yeah.
I think it's
So
about the insurance culture, isn't it? The suing, if things don't do what you want them to do. So, sell by date, use by date, only use once. A lot of that is to cover people
Buy
that
more.
to buy more, and also not negating personal responsibility of if it looks wrong, if it doesn't look right, if you do, that you still carry on using it, right? And you have to be told sort of caution is hot kind of vibration.
June, going back to vitamins, you
I was just getting ready to read this little bit about Captain James Cook. When he was preparing his supplies for his first global voyage and the Endeavour in the 1760s, he requisitioned 3 tons of sauerkraut.
Yep.
Who knew? I didn't know this. Yeah,
Is that
Well,
because
pickled
see.
cabbage? Sauerkraut is pickled cabbage, isn't it?
yes,
Yep,
it
that's
is.
what he gave them.
It's full of vitamin C, and it's got actually more vitamin C in it than lemons and limes. You know how British soldiers and sailors were all called limeys because they discovered that, limes help prevent scurvy. Well, sauerkraut is even better at preventing scurvy than lemons and limes. So I thought I wanted to share that with you because I thought that was very interesting. Yeah. Lynn's lemon thing, yeah, sauerkraut's real bonus was its longevity because lemons and limes will go off. It only contains half the vitamin C of fresh limes. It kept for months rather than weeks in a ship's hold. So there you go.
Wow. People are
Yeah.
drying fruit though in those dryers are dehydrators now. I don't know what the nutritional value is of the fruits and things, but you can do the whole thing. You can the peel and everything with slicing them and dehydrating them. If you invest in a dehydrator, I have tasted them. I freeze my lemons now. One of the I know that,
Yeah.
and there are ways of making. If you go into some of the prepping groups, there's ways of creating freezers in the ground. And I freeze lemons, ginger, turmeric, chili peppers. I freeze most things, but because you can grate the whole ginger root then into your cooking and the turmeric and things like that. But you can use the whole lemon when you freeze it as well. It doesn't have that same kind of thing, but
Helen,
yeah.
with your turmeric, mine went a really funny color red. Is that normal when I froze it?
No, mine never.
Really?
Don't know. I don't know. Mine's remained orange. But yeah, yeah,
I think
mine
I
remained.
grated it for when we did. You remember we were talking about teas and the influenza teas and the turmeric and cayenne, and I'd grated too much, so I put it in the freezer and it went red. Whether that's because it was already grated.
No, I put
wonder.
half, because I'll half grate a turmeric the same way as a ginger and put that back in. I've no idea. I've no idea.
That's interesting. Maybe
But
someone will put something in the comments. You never know. There's always people full of extra bits of information on those comments. So yeah, I mean, I just worry about the electricity going off and the freezer not being accessible. And then you've got all this stuff that you've got to use. So this is where I'm putting stuff in jars and kind of, yeah, I don't have a dehydrator, but jars of things and storing dried goods. Helen, you said something earlier on about because
I've tried
I'm
it.
getting stocks of rice and beans and stuff. Then you still need
Yeah,
somewhere to cook it. So I'm going to move on to that in a second. Yeah.
I preserve flour, bags of flour, I froze them first because apparently you're supposed to freeze them first, and I can't remember the reason why. I'm sure somebody you can look it up why you need to freeze it first. But with the flour, I froze it first, then put it into those vacuum bags, so sucked out all there. But put on my shelves, I have bay leaf on my shelves because that stops the weevils on flowers and things like that. And I put that into the bags before I sucked out as well, because bay will help keep certain things at bay. But I froze my rice and my flour before I vacuum sealed them and put them away. And I don't know why, like I said, but yeah, and tin stuff. If you get tins that are tins, they should last. There should be no sell by date or use by date, because the tins originally were, you were able to go to a tin after years and open it up, and the contents would be usable. But I think they've changed an awful lot of where our food comes in now. So do check whether it's a tin that you have your stuff. We call it tins, but it might not actually be tin anymore.
Well, and also if it smells off, don't eat it, basically. Use your nose.
Trust your senses.
Trust your nose. If it smells funny or it tastes funny, then it's not good.
Yeah.
So I think we need to get back to trusting our instincts on that one. But yeah, I mean, I was just going to quickly mention something else there, and I can't remember what it was now. Oh, cooking. Yeah. If the electricity goes off, because my cooker is all electric now, my lovely landlady got rid of the gas. So, but the gas might go off too. So I've got a rocket stove, which is absolutely amazing. It's a vertically tall, kind of square, but tall, rectangular, that's the word, where you feed twigs into it, and you only need twigs, and it cooks perfectly. I haven't actually used it. I could use it in my backyard. I live in a tiny terrace house in the middle of town, so I'm just a bit nervous about what the neighbors might think is going on. But you know what? They'll all be
You
round.
need to come to
Once
visit
I'm
with
started
you,
cooking and they haven't got any means of cooking, they'll all be coming round. And so yeah. And then you can keep a duvet, an old duvet, or a hay if you've got hay, and make yourself a hay box where you can put the pot into to keep it continuing to cook over like a slow cooker. So that's a wonderful discovery of mine, that friends of mine have written a book about it, about how to make a hay box and different recipes and things that you can make stews and casseroles and things. And they just carry on cooking for about 4 hours, wrapped up in an old duvet.
Yeah. There's loads of ways of, I mean, drying food as well. I mean, and if you dried food will keep for ages as long as it doesn't become rehydrated. You can dry garlic, and preserving food in oils, vinegars, all of those things, pickling. These were things that were done. I remember my mom pickling actually years ago.
Handed down.
Yeah, pickling, drying,
Yeah.
and if you don't have a dehydrator, your cooker on a very low heat, not your cooker, your oven on a very low heat, you spread your things out. You can dehydrate that way, without having to purchase a dehydrator. So you can dry, either hang in dry, but if you so I've dried garlic, in that way, and also putting garlic into oil to preserve it, and that also is a medicinal thing as well. So, and honey will also act as a preservative if you put things into honey, because honey never goes off. Do you know what I
Here
mean?
we go. Here we go. Cardboard and tin foil can make a solar oven.
There you go.
Love it. Love it.
There's so many preppy things. There are so many groups, survival groups out there, and that you can find information on the different ways of preserving. It's quite fabulous.
I think also, Helena, what you made a good point, and something that I'd like to know is the nutritional value and which foods are the best to preserve for their value, because we can, if we can preserve everything, but if it's not worthwhile to us just because we like the taste.
Taste is important though, Kerry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Needs to taste good. Food needs to taste good. Otherwise we just I engaged in Netflix yesterday watching You Are What You Eat. Very much pushing towards not eating meat, not, a various agenda, but there was so much truth in it as well. And it was, food needs to taste good. It needs to look good and taste good. Otherwise we don't tend to enjoy it, even though we can, you know, nutritionally, you can get nutrition from things that don't look and taste good, but that's the soul food aspect of our eating and cooking, is how it looks and how it makes us feel, both as we look at it and as we taste it.
You know, and there is such power in blessing your food. I keep coming back to this
Yes.
because I have to keep reminding myself to give thanks for whatever it is I'm about to eat and say, I'm going to take what's good out of this and leave what isn't. Because sometimes I find myself eating stuff from the cafe at my workplace, and I'm going, I really don't want to eat this, but I've got to eat something, otherwise I'm going to faint. You know, so it's very interesting. Ready for Qigong? Yes, I'll stop talking now. Definitely ready for Qigong.
Yes, definitely ready for some Qigong, and welcoming back the wonderful Robyn. We've missed you. We've missed your lovely Qigong. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for all that valuable information. I just wanted to ask, when you mentioned keeping things in oil like garlic, what's the best oil to use?
I use virgin olive oil.
Virgin olive oil, yeah, I thought
That's
it
what
might
I
be.
use.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure whether having tiptoed into castor oil, I don't know whether that would be a good oil to preserve in. I'm not sure. And she's kind of screwing up her face.
I would say
No.
not, probably.
But
That
I
would
use
really alter the flavor of everything, and I think it might, yeah.
all right. I haven't tasted it, so I don't. I've never tasted castor oil.
Ah, okay, okay,
No.
there you
But I
go.
would use olive oil, or if you're making your own oils, I suppose avocado, you know, whatever oil is made the easiest as well. I'd step away from vegetable oil, sunflower oil,
Yeah.
cooking oil, none of those. But
Yeah.
and I know that there's a lot of stuff coming out now about seed oils, but and Lisa's just put nut seed oils, but I would look at you know, other types of oils.
Yeah.
So I don't. Yeah, but I
Okay.
use.
Thank you. Right, so let's just connect with our feet to the ground, first of all. You can do this seated, standing, or even lying down if you want to. And if you ever do these practices lying down, what I do to ground, I just imagine that my feet are on the ground, on the grass near some trees, and I just imagine my roots going down. So you can ground when you're lying down, and you might have some other ways of doing it as well. So just becoming aware of your feet, your big toes, right through to your little toes. Around the outside edges of the feet to the heels. And the inside edges of the feet back up to the big toes. Feel the balls of the feet on the ground. Just really feel that connection and having the intention of sending your own roots down into the earth. Great if you can do it outside, but if you can't get outside for whatever reason, this is the next best thing. And just imagine soaking up all that lovely, nourishing, nurturing energy from the earth. And a sense of gratitude for everything that the earth provides for all of us. And just feel that heartfelt connection to the earth, go into the heart of Mother Earth. And get a sense of giving and receiving, sending your breath down into the earth in gratitude, and then receiving back from the earth on the in-breath with gratitude. And smile. It helps when you have a little smile on your face. Just getting a sense of filling yourself up, replenishing any lost energy over this busy period. Fill up your own reservoir. Breathe it in. breathe out and just allowing your body to soften, to let go if you possibly can. And if there's any areas in your body that need your attention, just give it some attention. With kindness, with compassion, with gentleness, just like you would to a child or your pet. Be kind to yourself. And then bring your attention to the crown of the head and get a sense of opening from the crown and opening up to the sky. And let's all imagine a beautiful blue sky, the radiant sun, the beautiful moon, the shining stars. And just remember that we're connected all the time. We can plug ourselves in at any time to reconnect. And just let that light fill you up from above. So bringing in that yang energy from above, connecting with the yin energy from below, and having a sense of meeting in the middle to bring balance and harmony into your body, into your day, into your life, as much as you can. And then we're going to take a deep breath in and just raise our arms up, just as high as it's comfortable. And then breathe out with a ha. The ha is the heart sound. So releasing any heat from the heart, releasing any tension, any heaviness. And let's do that again. Breathing in. And then as you breathe out. If you run out of breath as the hands are coming down, then just take another breath in and then make sure your feet are about shoulder width apart. For balance, let's do that one once more. Breathe in, have a stretch up, and then softening the knees and letting that tailbone just point down towards the earth, and that helps to open up that lumbar region of the spine. And then getting a sense of elongating through the spine, like you've been pulled up with a string from the crown of the head. Allow your shoulders to gently drop down, your shoulder blades melting down the back. And just noticing your posture. Do you feel a bit stiff, a bit lopsided, a bit heavy? Just notice how you're feeling and just getting a sense of lifting up, but softening as well. So lifting and softening back down. And then let's go for a little walk. So again, feeling the feet, stimulating the balls of the feet. We've got kidney 1 points there. Bringing some energy gently into the body, into the kidneys. Kidneys are associated with the winter, the water element, and the bladder channels. So just making sure you keep warm drinks, warm food, warm feet. And then we'll stop. Reconnect again. Notice how you're feeling. And then we'll cross over. Cross crawl, June's cross crawl. So waking up both hemispheres of the brain, both sides of the body. And again, which helps to bring it into balance. Good for your coordination. Just getting that energy circulating through both sides of the body, through the system. And we'll have to do the John Travolta dance. Bring some fun into it. It's not all about seriousness, is it? Let's have some fun. Just go at your own pace. You can slow it down, you can speed it up. Just remember to breathe. And then let's do some happy clapping. Just clearing that space with the clapping, activating the lat points and the palms of your hands, getting that energy walking up a little bit. And then let's do some clapping around the body. Imagine you're clapping underneath your feet, above your head, clearing that space around you. And then let's go the opposite way. Have a little stretch, circulating the chi and the blood. Well, and then let's shake. So shaking off the remnants of last year. Anything still lurking around that's not very helpful. So just like the leaves falling from the trees, just shake it off nice and gently, no forcing. We never force anything in these practices. Shake the shoulders. Just do as much or as little as your body can do right now. Listen to your own body. Just gently bending the knees. You can do some cleansing breaths as well, purging breaths. Breathing in through the nose and then out of the mouth. Shake out through the feet. Shake it like you're shaking water off. Get them channels opening throughout the body. And let's do some shoulder rolls with knee bends if that's comfortable. Or just do it seated if that's better for you right now. Open that chest. Create some space for the lungs, the heart, all the organs in the body. Because we do want to close in winter. Go the opposite way now. It is about closing in and preserving your energy. But as well, we need to just keep things moving and open at the same time. And then just putting your hands on your hips, just turning your head to one side and then the other side. Breathe into the centre and out to the side. Gently waking up the joints in the body. Again, to allow that energy to circulate. Get that blood moving. And then just up and down, allow your arms to drop down at the sides of your body, lifting up your head as you breathe in. And then lowering the head as you breathe out. And ideally, breathing in and out of your nose now. Now we've done some releasing and cleansing breaths. Let's get that oxygen up to the brain, get the fluids up to the brain. And this can actually help to give you some energy if you get that slump at any time. Breathing in that oxygen. Breathe out stagnation. And again, breathe in. And breathe out. Let's do some pumping down now into the ground. So imagine you bouncing a ball, stretching your fingers out. This is good for arthritic fingers as well. Opening, pushing down into the ground. And again, this helps to open up the spine, the lower back. And then just opening from the chest as well. Pushing forwards. And then up, pushing up. You don't need to push too far, too high. Let's get that heart rate up a little bit. Some cardio. And then let's have a shake again. Have a little shimmy. Happy dog wagging its tail. Opening up the hips and again that lower back. And the wrists. So just opening through the wrists. Circling one way and then the opposite way. it's good to give your joints a good old oiling. I've just been talking about oil. So imagine that you're oiling your joints when you're doing these exercises, releasing them and making them more supple, more flexible. Now, if you want to practice your balance, because that's important too, you can carry on circling the wrists and do one ankle at the same time. Now, if you struggle with your balance, just have a chair there handy so you can hold on. I think they call this brain hacking as well, biohacking. Again, good for the left and right hemispheres of the brain too. Then put that foot down, do the opposite side. Good to practice these little and often, I think. Brushing your teeth with your less dominant hand. So for me, left hand, and maybe just lifting your opposite leg up while you're brushing your teeth. Of course, you have to be safe doing that, so make sure that you don't fall. So anything like that that helps with your balance, just a few times a day. Right, another little shake. I think we've done the whole body now. So we'll do a little bit of circulating the chi. So rubbing the hands together helps to stimulate it a little bit more. And then just having your hands resting at the sides of the body, opening under the armpits, again, just to let that energy circulate. Softening the knees again. Just focusing on the breath. So we're going to do some movements from Shibashi. The breathing for Shibashi is a gentle in-breath through the nose, a gentle out-breath through the mouth. Very, very gentle. This is a harmonizing breath. So there's not too much of dispersing, but we're not getting too much tonifying as well. It's just a nice, gentle, harmonizing breath. Shibashi means 18 movements in Mandarin. And this is a good overall healthcare system, good for any abilities and age. So first of all, we're just going to breathe in and raise the arms all the way up. And then breathe out, bringing the arms down the sides of the body and bending the knees if that's comfortable. Then rising up again, I'll show you from the side. And then coming down. Keeping the back as straight as possible, but keeping the weight evenly distributed so you're not putting too much weight on your knees or any other part of the body. Breathe in, really absorbing that earthly energy, connecting to that energy above, and then breathe out. This helps to get the energy running through all the channels in the body. Just do 2 more. Breathe in as you rise up. Go at your own pace of breath. Breathe out as you sink down. This helps to circulate the energy around the body and through the body. Last one. And then imagine that you're grabbing hold of a stem, both palms facing each other, and then just coming up through the center line of the body, all the way up to the sky. And then imagine that you're gathering some of that radiant sun, that nourishment, bringing it down again. And this time we're gathering it and placing it going through to the bone marrow, so the hands just above the knees. If you can squat, that's great. If not, then just do as much as you can, just bring the hands a bit further up. So let's come up again, breathing in. This is called lotus blossom opens. And then breathe out, gathering. So this could signify when you wake up and you're bringing that energy into the day, bringing that nourishment, opening up to the sun, gathering all that lovely nourishing energy, the light. And then as you breathe out, you're bringing that energy back in, like you're closing at the end of the day. Restoring your energy and then opening up again. Bringing in that balance of opening and closing. We'll just do 2 more. So you breathe in, coming up. Breathe out, coming down, gathering, nourishing and nurturing. Just do 1 more. And then bring that down. We'll do 1 more movement. This is good for, especially good for the kidneys. So let's just rub the hands together again. Imagine that you're holding the moon this time between the palms of the hands. Make sure your knees are soft. We're just going to turn to one side. And as we turn, we're going to breathe in, bring the arms up, and imagine that you're gathering or capturing the essence of the moon. Then we bring it back down to the front, bend the knees if that's comfortable, and then we turn to the opposite side. So you've got this twist going on, opening through the ribs, then coming back down, bending the knees, bringing in that energy of the moon, and we turn again to the opposite side. So with the twisting, that helps to strengthen the kidneys, the waist. And opening, you're creating space between the ribs, the back, good for the lungs. Open up the airways there. So we breathe in and turn and lift. Gather the essence of the moon. We breathe out, coming back to centre. You can imagine the moon glistening on the water, on the lake. And turn, breathe in and gather, show you from the side. Breathe out, come back to centre, then lifting up again. They have celebration in China where they have a family festival at the full moon where they just have a good time, and it's basically gratitude for the moon. We all have a really good family festival. I think it's in October sometime. It's a good idea. And then come back to centre, both palms facing towards each other. And imagine the moon just getting smaller and smaller, bringing the hands towards each other. And then imagine that it's turning into a golden ball of light, like the sun. Bring one hand on top of the other, just underneath the navel, and let's just massage up on the right, underneath the ribs, over to the left, and down on the left, and back over to the right. In the direction of digestion. So this one I've been doing quite a lot over the Christmas period, just to help with digestion, with detoxing. It's a nice gentle massage to help with digestion. Releasing stagnation. And then just rest. Come back into your centre, one hand on top of the other, and just keep your eyes closed just for a few moments. Just want to read something from my new Earth Pathways diary that I got for Christmas. And it's called She is Risen. Gently close your eyes and take 3 slow, deep breaths. Open to being quiet, soaking up the silence. This moment is a gift, where you are held by the earth and sky. Let go of the need to know or do. Honour yourself with these moments of joy and lightness. As with hand on heart in stillness, you tune into the wholeness of your being. And that's by Being by Kate Parker, and there's a picture by Louise Hargreaves, which you can have a look at. And then just gently open your eyes. Feel that connection again, beneath and above. We'll do one last movement. We'll breathe in, gather, palms together, breathe out, coming down through the centre to your own heart. Give yourselves a bow and thank you very much for joining. Have a lovely day and a happy new year to everybody. Happy, healthy new year. Give yourselves a clap.
Thank you, Robyn. That was beautiful. We've missed you. Thank you so much, and a lovely reading at the end. Oh, anyone else feeling energized?
100%. Thank you, Robyn.
Brilliant.
Great.
Would anyone else like to add anything before we go this morning? No. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure being here with you all this morning. Thank you for watching. If you've joined us via recording, thank you for finding us. And on behalf of the People's Health Alliance, we wish you a wonderful Wellbeing Wednesday. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.